Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to deal with organizational assessment. Organizational assessment in terms of cultural diversity. So, organizational assessment basically how to assess the organization taking cultural diversity into perspective, as conducting an organizational assessment for the diversity involves evaluating various aspects of the organizations to understand its current state of diversity and inclusion. Here is the step by step how to perform an organizational assessment for the diversity. As such, how much we are able to successfully, that means how far we are able to accept and respect diverse workforce into the organization. Step 1, and define the objectives and scope. Definitely clearly outline the objectives of the assessment and define the scope to identify the specific areas and assess aspects of diversity you want: ethnicity, gender, age, disability. Then engage leadership. That's what given gain importance and support for the top leadership to ensure the commitment to the assessment process, communicate the importance of diversity and inclusion in achieving the organizational goals. Coming on to step 3 says we need to review the policies and practices of the organization, that is examining the existing policies related to recruitment, hiring, promotion, employees development, assessing the organization's commitment towards diversity through missions, statements, values, official communication. After reviewing the policies and the practices, we need to collect the demographic data. That is gathering the data on the current workforce, analyzing the representation of different demographic groups at the various organizational level. After collection of the data, we need to evaluate the recruitment and the hiring process. That is, we should review the various strategies, recruitment strategies, to ensure that they attract diverse pool of candidates, assess the effectiveness of hiring process in promoting the diversity and preventing bias. Whereas examine the employees development and advancement, how to evaluate the programs for the professional development, mentorship and training to ensure they are inclusive. Assess the availability of opportunities is for career advancement for employees more diverse background. Coming on to step. Next step says review of employees relation and inclusion. So definitely employees relation and should be reviewed, and whether the employees, all the employees from different background are being included in terms of initiatives, opinions, or their own views, right? Otherwise, review policies related to discrimination, harassment, and inclusivity in the organization should be checked. Then evaluate the work-life balance programs. Assess the availability of flexible work arrangements, friendly family policies, and other programs promoting the work life balance for the employees of the organization. Next, coming on to the step 9, conduct employee survey. There should be an administer survey to gather the feedback from the employees about the perception of the diversity and inclusion within the organization, and include the questions related to organization culture, leadership commitment, and experience of inclusion. Then coming on to review communication strategies, yes, you need to evaluate internal and external communications to ensure it reflects a commitment of diversity. Assess the representation of diversity in the organizational branding and the promotional materials. So these are the steps are there. These are the 10 steps. Coming on the next step, we have benchmark against the industry standards. You need to compare the organization's diversity metrics and practice with the industry's benchmark, identifying areas where the organizations can improve based on the industry based activities. So there should be a benchmark made for the diversity programs to be uh, were implemented in the organization, as well as analyze the data and identify the patterns, analyze the collected data to identify the pattern, trends, and disparities. Look for the areas where the organizations excel and the areas that needs improvement data. So that means if data, that means data related to the diversity programs being implemented, benefits being achieved from that, and all those, if any policy recommendations are required, that also can be checked on. Coming on to, after analyzing the data, you need to create a action plan. So develop a comprehensive action plan based on the assessment of the findings of the diversity programs to promote and accept the different cultures and customs, right? If identified gaps are there, then we need to promote more inclusive workplace. Then implement and monitor the changes. You need to implement the action plan. Implementation based on the action plan, continuously monitor and implement, evaluate the impact changes. If any kind of changes onto the diversity and inclusion is happening, that has to be checked. Then you need to communicate the results and the progress is key. Following the programs, the policies is of inclusivity as well as cultural diversity. What are the benefits being achieved by the organizations? So these are the 15 steps which should be always be there, and which checks the organizational assessment towards the benefit that we are having the cultural diversity programs and practices in the organization, including the policies is for removing the discrimination or harassment, or inclusivity should always be there for all kind of employees. So these are the 15 in steps which should always be followed by all the organizations.